So what is up, guys? Brendan Suter back, and today I'm here with NFL Week, Troy Aikman, Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson, and Steve Young. It is Week 8 predictions. If you're looking to watch a certain matchup, timestamps are in the description box below, so click on the match you want to see. Anyways, last week was just an okay week for me. I kind of got screwed over by some of the bigger upsets that happened, because, of course, Tampa Bay and Green Bay would completely let me down. But anyways, it's a new week. We got 15 matches to get to. We have the Chiefs and Chargers on their bye week. So without further ado, let's get this video started. So we're starting off with our Thursday night football match between the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Start off with the Ravens. You won 23-20 over the Cleveland Browns. Once again, that was an ugly victory like they've been this year. Anyways, Lamar Jackson, he didn't really throw the ball that much, only threw for 120 yards. Once again, it was on the ground game because no J.K. Dobbins, no problem. Gus Edwards with 66 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Lamar Jackson with 59 yards. You had a total of 160 yards on the ground, so of course, stick with the ground attack. Anyways, lead receiver was Devin Duvernay, 2 receptions, 42 yards. Rashad Bateman, 4 receptions, 42 yards. And then Patrick Ricard, 2 receptions, 20 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, sure, they were able to hold down the Browns. Sure, they got bailed out by the refs at times. But honestly, take the victory and run. You did not deserve that at all because you nearly blew it all in the second half like you've done this entire season. And then the Buccaneers, what was that? What was that 21-3 loss to the Carolina Panthers? They just traded away Christian McCaffrey. They started P.J. Walker, and you got fucked up. Starting off, Tom Brady, he threw for 290 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was White with 24 yards, followed by Leonard Fournette with 19. Lead receiver, Mike Evans, 9 receptions, 96 yards. He should have had 10 receptions, one going for at least a 70-yard touchdown. But, of course, he developed Aguilar hands. Followed up with Auten, 4 receptions, 64 yards. And then Chris Godwin, 7 receptions, 43 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, sure, you limited the pass game, but you got destroyed by Dante Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. I really don't know what else to say. Bucks are 1.5-point favorites, so give me the Ravens in this one in an upset. And now you have our very first Sunday matchup. It is another 9:30 London game between the Denver Broncos and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Starting off with the Jags, you lost 23-17 to the New York Giants in a valiant effort. We had Trevor Lawrence threw for 310 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Travis Etienne with 114 yards and a touchdown. However, you guys did just trade away James Robinson to the Jets because, once again, with Etienne taking over, Robinson really just kind of lost his spot. Thank you, Urban Meyer, for fucking all that up. Anyway, starting off, lead receiver was Christian Kirk, 7 receptions, 96 yards. Evan Ingram, 4 receptions, 67 yards. And then Marvin Jones Jr., 4 receptions, 57 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they just got smacked by the Giants, at least on the ground game, because they had 236 rushing yards on you guys. And then the Broncos, it was a humiliating 16-9 loss to the New York Jets. Russell Wilson, he was injured, so Brett Rippon threw for 225 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Lead rusher was Melvin Gordon with 33 yards, followed by Latavius Murray with 24 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, Jerry Jeudy, 7 receptions, 96 yards. Then Greg Dulcich, 6 receptions, 51 yards. And then Cortland Sutton, 3 receptions, 23 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, it was honestly just a really, really sloppy affair between the Jets and the Broncos. It really came down to who made more mistakes. And that was the Broncos. Anyways, Jags are 2.5-point favorites to win this one, but the Broncos could be getting back Russell Wilson this week. You know, I'm feeling good. I'm going to say the Broncos win in an upset. And now you have our very next matchup, a classic NFC South rivalry between the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Starting off with the Panthers, it is officially tank time because Christian McCaffrey just got traded away, but you somehow beat the Buccaneers. Anyways, P.J. Walker had a decent game through for 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I am still super shocked how well he did. Lead rusher was Dante Foreman with 118 yards, followed by Chuba Hubbard with 63 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, DJ Moore, 7 receptions, 69 yards, nice, and a touchdown. Followed up with Marshall Jr. with 2 receptions, 31 yards, and then Tremble, 1 reception, 29 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it, and the defense just completely locked down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, this was a very, very sloppy showing, but credit to where credit's due on that. And then the Falcons, you know, after a big victory over the Niners, you were brought back to reality, lost 35-17 to the Cincinnati Bengals. Marcus Mariota, not a great game, threw for 124 yards, no touchdowns. 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher was Algier with 50 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, Damian Bird with 1 reception, 75 yards and a touchdown, followed by Olamide Zaccheaus, 3 receptions, 31 yards, and then Drake London, 1 reception, 9 yards. That was pretty much it, and the defense got fried, gave up over 500 yards to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's pretty much all that needs to be said. So the Falcons, they're 4.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our very next match between the Chicago Bears and the Dallas Cowboys. Starting off with the Bears, an impressive 33-14 upset over the New England Patriots on Monday Night Football. Starting off, Justin Fields threw for 179 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Once again, they focused more on a ground and pound attack, and it paid dividends. As we had Justin Fields, who ran for 82 yards and a touchdown. David Montgomery with 62 yards and a touchdown. And Khalil Herbert, he had 62 yards on the day. No touchdowns, but still, once again, you guys racked up 243 rushing yards, which is absolutely amazing. Lead receiver was Darnell Mooney, 3 receptions, 53 yards, followed by Equanimeous St. Brown, 4 receptions, 48 yards. And then Cole Kmet, 2 receptions, 32 yards. The only person to have a receiving touchdown was Khalil Herbert. So he didn't get one on the ground, but he got one in the air. So credit to where credit's due. And the defense, they just completely locked down the New England Patriots. They were kind of going between Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, but once again, good victory. And then the Cowboys, you beat the Detroit Lions 24-6. Dak Prescott, in his return, didn't really do too much. Threw for 207 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's missed some time, so I didn't expect him to go, insane. Lead rusher was Tony Pollard with 83 yards, followed by Ezekiel Elliott with 57 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. Lead receiver was CeeDee Lamb, 4 receptions, 70 yards, followed by Noah Brown, 5 receptions, 50 yards, and then Dalton Schultz, 5 receptions, 49 yards. That was pretty much it, and the defense just shut down the Detroit Lions. That's very good. That's very good, because once again, they were hyping themselves up as this elite offense. Well, where the hell has it been? It's been non-existent. Cowboys are 9.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover this one. And now you have our very next match between the Arizona Cardinals and the Minnesota Vikings. Starting off with the Cardinals. Big 42-34 victory over the New Orleans Saints, which absolutely pains me. I'm still in a lot of pain with this goddamn team, but I love them in the end. Anyway, starting off, Kyler Murray had a decent game, threw for 204 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher was Eno Benjamin with 92 yards and a touchdown, followed by Kyler Murray with 30. Lead receiver was DeAndre Hopkins. First game back, had 10 receptions for 103 yards, followed by Rondale Moore, 1 reception, 31 yards, and then Keontae Ingram, 2 receptions, 23 yards. That was pretty much it, but the defense, sure they allowed nearly 500 yards to the Saints, but they did have 2 pick sixes, and most of that damage did come in garbage time, so I'm not going to go insanely hard on that. Maybe a little bit, but in the end, you pulled out the victory. And then the Vikings, a good 24-16 victory over the Dolphins. This was in week 6 because you were on your bye last week. Kirk Cousins threw for 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was, of course, Dalvin Cook with 77 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, though, Jay Jettis, 6 receptions, 107 yards. Followed by Adam Thielen, 4 receptions, 36 yards and a touchdown. Then KJ Osborne, 3 receptions, 18 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, sure, they were able to lock down the Miami Dolphins, but this was a hobbled Teddy Bridgewater and injured Skylar Thompson. So can't really give too much credit out there, but win's a win. Vikings are 3.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover. And now you have our very next matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and my boys in the New Orleans Saints. Anyway, starting off with the Raiders, you won 38-20 over the Houston Texans. Derek Carr was a pretty solid game, threw for 241 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, but it was once again all in the ground game. Josh Jacobs just lit it up with 143 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Lead receiver was Devontae Adams, 8 receptions, 95 yards, followed by Hunter Renfrow, 3 receptions, 55 yards, and then Mac Hollins, 2 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it, and the defense was just able to shut down the Houston Texans. Sure, they had a little bit of trouble with Dameon Pierce and at some times Davis Mills, but in the end, you pulled out the victory. And then the Saints. I don't like this team right now. I'm so pissed off. I thought we had a chance to beat the Cardinals, and the first half looked great until we had back-to-back pick sixes. Starting off, Andy Dalton threw for 361 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Don't be fooled. Most of this did happen in garbage time. He was just bad this game. Lead rusher was Alvin Kamara with 49 yards, followed by Andy Dalton with 21. Lead receiver, who else but Chris Olave, 7 receptions, 106 yards, followed by Kevin White, 1 reception, 64 yards, and then Traquan Smith, 5 receptions, 59 yards. That was pretty much it, but one of our better plays was with Rashid Shaheed with 1 reception, 53 yards, and a touchdown. Anyways, moving on to the defense, it just had trouble against DeAndre Hopkins and the ground game, but once again, those 2 pick sixes really did come back to haunt us, which absolutely kills. Raiders are 2-point favorites to win this one, but come on. You already know what I'm going to say. Saints pull out the upset, baby. And now you have our very next matchup, a classic AFC East rivalry and a rematch of the 2010 AFC divisional game between the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. Starting off the Patriots, it was a bad 33-14 loss against the Chicago Bears. Mac Jones, he had a couple of drives through for 50% completion percentage, 13 yards, and a pick. So in comes Bailey Zappi. And his first 2 drives were great, and then he sucked as he had 185 yards in the day, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Lead rusher was Ramondre Stevenson with 39 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, Devontae Parker, 3 receptions, 68 yards, followed by Ramondre Stevenson, 8 receptions, 59 yards, and then Jacoby Myers, 2 receptions, 34 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it, and the defense just could not handle the ground game of the Chicago Bears. Once again, when the Bears, if they're sticking to a ground game, it's going to be pretty hard to stop them. And then the Jets, it was an ugly 16-9 victory over the Denver Broncos. Zach Wilson threw for 121 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Breece Hall ran for 72 yards and a touchdown, but he did go out with a torn ACL. So you trade for James Robinson, which, I like the trade because it was very cheap. It was a very frugal trade. And honestly, I think this could work out because, Michael Carter just doesn't really mean anything to the Jets anymore. Anyways, but Michael Carter led receiving, 2 receptions, 45 yards, followed by Garrett Wilson, 4 receptions, 24 yards, then Tyler Conklin, 4 receptions, 22 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, you shut down the Broncos. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Wouldn't matter if it's Brett Rippon or Russell Wilson. Broncos country, let's ride right into a ditch. Because that's what they've been this season. Patriots are 2.5-point favorites to win this one. And I'm going to be sticking with narratives because the Patriots, the one thing they're always good at is beating the Jets. Except for the AFC Championship game in 2010. So give it the Patriots that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup, the Battle of Pennsylvania between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Starting off with the Steelers, you lost 16-10 to the Miami Dolphins. Kenny Pickett threw for 257 yards, 1 touchdown, but 3 brutal interceptions. Lead rusher, though, was Najee Harris with 65 yards. Lead receiver was Pat Freiermuth, 8 receptions, 75 yards, followed by George Pickens, 6 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown. And then Deontay Johnson, 5 receptions, 42 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, sure, they limited the Miami Dolphins as much as possible, but you had at least 4 or 5 picks that you dropped. So that's the number one thing I'm going to shame your defense for, because you should have, with how your defense played, with all those missed opportunities, had you made some of those, I think you would have won this game. And then the Eagles, you were on your bye last week, but you had a statement victory, winning 26-17 over the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Jalen Hurts threw for 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Wasn't amazing, but it was all in the ground game. Miles Sanders with 71 yards and a touchdown, followed by Jalen Hurts with 27 and Kenneth Gainwell with 25. Lead receiver, A.J. Brown, 5 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Devontae Smith, 5 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. And then Dallas Goedert, 2 receptions, 22 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they just completely made Cooper Rush's life a living hell. The once hyped up Cooper Rush got absolutely smothered, which I love seeing. Anyways, Eagles are 10-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win, but cover the spread. And now you have our very next match between the Miami Dolphins and the Detroit Lions. Starting off with the Dolphins, clutch 16-10 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tua Tagovailoa first came back, threw for 261 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, although it really should have been 3, 4, or 5 picks because the Steelers dropped so many opportunities. Lead rusher was Raheem Mostert with 79 yards. Lead receiver, Jalen Waddle, 4 receptions, 88 yards, followed by Tyreek Hill, 7 receptions, 72 yards. Sherfield, 3 receptions, 44 yards, and then Raheem Mostert, 4 receptions, 30 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. And the defense, sure, you locked down the Steelers, but this is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their offense is absolutely inept. And then the Detroit Lions. The beginning of the season, what I saw was just an extremely explosive offense and a team with no defense. Well, now it's a team with no defense and no offense to be found. So Jared Goff threw for 228 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks against the Lions. Lead rusher was Jamal Williams with 79 yards, followed by Khalif Raymond with 20. Lead receiver was, once again, Khalif Raymond, 5 receptions, 75 yards, followed by Brock Wright, 4 receptions, 57 yards, and then TJ Hawkinson, 4 receptions, 48 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they were able to hold down the Dallas Cowboys because, once again, Dak was coming back from injury, so I was expecting his pass game to be limited, but he just couldn't get anything done. Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very first 4 o'clock matchup, a classic AFC South rivalry between the Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. Starting off with the Titans, barely pulled out a 19-10 victory over the Indianapolis Colts. Ryan Tannehill threw for 132 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. But once again, King Henry led the way with 128 rushing yards. Lead receiver, Austin Hooper, 3 receptions, 56 yards, and an insane reception. It was kind of similar to the Julian Edelman reception in Super Bowl 51 because Austin Hooper was on the sidelines and saw that, so he decided to do his impersonation of it. Edelman still did it better, though. Then followed up with Hollister, 2 receptions, 32 yards, and then Robert Woods, 3 receptions, 26 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they just locked down the Indianapolis Colts. But this offense has just been absolutely sputtering this season. Matt Ryan can't get anything going, and you pulled out the victory. And then the Texans, I had some faith in you, but you let me down with a 38-20 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. Davis Mills threw for 302 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Lead rush was Dameon Pierce with 92 yards. Lead receiver, Jordan Atkins, 3 receptions, 68 yards, followed by Ogun Bawal, 5 receptions, 54 yards. Brandon Cooks, 4 receptions, 46 yards. And then Philip Dorsett, 2 receptions, 45 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. And the defense just got absolutely picked apart by Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, and Devontae Adams. So, I would say tough pill to swallow, but that's a great trio. Anyways, Titans are 2-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. Now you have our very next matchup between the Washington Commanders and the Indianapolis Colts. Starting off with the Commanders. You won? What? I'm in complete shock that you beat the Green Bay Packers, but somehow you did. Taylor Heineke, man, he has that one fluke game where he makes everyone thinks he's a legit quarterback, but he's really just below average. But he had an okay game against the Packers, threw for 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Lead rusher was Brian Robinson with 73 yards, followed by Antonio Gibson with 59. Lead receiver, who else but Scary Terry, 5 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Curtis Samuel, 5 receptions, 53 yards, and then Armani Rogers, 3 receptions, 28 yards, and then Gibson, 3 receptions, 18 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it, and the defense just completely locked down the Packers. They did not care to use the ground game, and the pass game was extremely limited, and good victory all around. And then the Colts, it's kind of panic time right now. Matt Ryan threw for 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and a 19-10 loss against the Colts. Now, what's going on is that he's not going to be starting. Sam Ehlinger is coming in, and even though Matt Ryan's injured, this was going to happen. The Colts said that Sam Ehlinger was going to play this week despite the health of Matt Ryan. Even if he was healthy, he's just been terrible this year. Followed up, Jonathan Taylor ran for 58 yards. Lead rusher was lead receiver Paris Campbell, 10 receptions, 70 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Michael Pittman Jr., 6 receptions, 58 yards, and then Naheem Hines, 5 receptions, 41 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they were able to hold down the Tennessee Titans, but it wasn't really a great offensive game because the Colts just made way too many mistakes on offense. Anyways, but the Colts are 2-point favorites to win this one. But Sam Ehlinger making his debut, I feel good about this one. So give me the Colts that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup, a rematch of the 2021 NFC Championship game and a classic NFC West rivalry between the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. Started off with the Niners. It was a tough 44-23 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. Jimmy Garoppolo, not his best, threw for 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. It was bad enough that Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, came into the game, threw for 66 yards and a pick. Lead rusher was Jeff Wilson Jr. with 54 yards, followed by Christian McCaffrey with 38. Lead receiver, who else but George Kittle on National Tight Ends Day, 6 receptions, 98 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Brandon Ayuk, 7 receptions, 82 yards, then Ray McLeod, 4 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it, and the defense just got absolutely fried by the Kansas City Chiefs. Once again, I know a lot of people were sleeping on the Chiefs at the beginning of the year. I definitely had a little bit of a sleep. I thought they'd be second in the division, but hey, Patrick Mahomes has still proven that he's the best QB in the league. And then the Rams, you're on your bye last week, but last time you played, you had a 24-10 victory over the Carolina Panthers. Matt Stafford, not amazing, threw for 253 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Lead rusher was Darrell Henderson with 43 yards and a touchdown, followed by Skowerneck with 17 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, who else but Cooper Kupp, 7 receptions, 80 yards, followed by Allen Robinson, 5 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. And then Skowerneck with 5 receptions, 40 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, sure, they just locked down the Carolina Panthers, but this was once again led by a bad P.J. Walker, Jacob Eason. This team was just a mess back then. And you know what? They still are. Anyways, 49ers are 1.5 favorites to win this one. And as always in the regular season, Niners are going to win. They will win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks. Starting off with the Giants, clutch 23-17 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Daniel Jones was okay, threw for 202 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher was Saquon Barkley with 110 yards, followed by Daniel Jones with 107 rushing yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, Darius Slayton, 3 receptions, 58 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Wan'Dale Robinson, 6 receptions, 50 yards, and then Saquon Barkley, 4 receptions, 25 yards. That's pretty much it. And the defense, they had some struggles against the Jags. Sure, the Jags nearly scored the go-ahead touchdown, but a lot like the Tennessee Titans in the Super Bowl, they were 1 yard short. So good victory out to the G-men. And then the Seahawks, it's kind of weird. Like, I wasn't expecting you guys to be good this year, but hey, you are. Geno Smith threw for 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick in a 37-23 victory over the LA Chargers. Once again, no Rashad Penny, no problem. Kenneth Walker ran for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead receiver was Marquise Goodwin, 4 receptions, 67 yards, and 2 touchdowns, followed by Will Dissly, 4 receptions, 45 yards, and then Tyler Lockett, 7 receptions, 49 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they were able to lock down the LA Chargers. They really could not get anything going. So it's a clutch victory, and possibly, Seahawks management might have saved their job with this nice, sneakily good draft class of theirs. Seahawks are 3-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our Sunday Night Football matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Buffalo Bills. Starting off with the Packers, it's just been a humiliating season for you. You lost 23-21 to the Washington Commanders. Aaron Rodgers, not his best, threw for 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. The ground game, you guys only ran the ball 12 times. Aaron Jones had 23 yards, and A.J. Dillon had 15. What's so wrong with using the ground game for you guys? I really don't get that. Anyways, lead receiver, Allen Lazard, 6 receptions, 55 yards, followed by Aaron Jones, 9 receptions, 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then Sammy Watkins, 2 receptions, 36 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they bended a lot to the Washington football team, mainly in particular their rush game and Terry McLaurin. Then the Bills, you were on your bye last week, but you had a statement 24-20 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen threw for 329 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Devin Singletary with 85 yards. Lead receiver, who else but Stephon Diggs, 10 receptions, 148 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Gabriel Davis, 3 receptions, 74 yards, and a touchdown. And then Dawson Knox, 3 receptions, 37 yards, and the game-winning touchdown. That was pretty much it. And the defense surely had a little bit of bending, especially against the Chiefs. Passing attack, but they did have 2 picks, 1 on the final drive, which just sealed the game. Bills are 11-point favorites to win this one. I would say that they win, but don't cover the spread. I say the Packers keep this close, but Bills are going to come out on top. And now you have our Monday Night Football matchup, a classic AFC North rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Starting off with the Bengals, a big 35-17 victory over the Atlanta Falcons. Joe Burrow lit the skies on fire, threw for 481 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Joe Mixon with 58 yards and a touchdown, followed by Joe Burrow with 20 yards and a touchdown. He had 502 total yards on the day. That's amazing. Anyways, lead receiver, you would think it would be Jamar Chase, but it was actually Tyler Boyd. 8 receptions, 155 yards, and a touchdown. But, of course, Jamar Chase, 8 receptions, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Followed by T. Higgins, 5 receptions, 93 yards. Once again, that is maybe the best receiving trio in the league. Don't even fight me on that. And once again, they got youth on their side, so it's so hard to stop Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins when they're all clicking. And the defense, sure, they bended mainly in the second quarter, but other than that, just completely locked down the Atlanta Falcons. And then the Browns, a tough 23-20 loss to the Ravens. Jacoby Brissett was okay, threw for 258 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was who else but Nick Chubb with 91 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Amari Cooper, 3 receptions, 74 yards, followed by Donovan Peoples-Jones, 6 receptions, 71 yards, and then David Njoku, 7 receptions, 71 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, sure, they stopped the Ravens' passing game. Once again, the Ravens are just way more effective on the ground. And you got a little bit unlucky with some of the calls by the refs, but in the end, it's a tough way to go out. Bengals are 3.5-point favorites to win this one. Now, usually in the past couple of years, the Browns have always won these games against the Bengals. But once again, this is still when they had Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield, he knows how to get the best of the Bengals, but there's no Baker Mayfield. So Bengals win and cover the spread. That is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you want to see my most recent prediction video, click right over here. If you like this video, drop a like, subscribe to my channel by clicking over here, or the subscribe button down below. Comment down below what your thoughts were on this video. Who are your upsets of the week, lock of the week, favorite team going to win. Follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, @BrendanSuter. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Who Dat Nation in desperation mode.